My entitled sister ruined my Christmas gift simply because it was more expensive than hers, and my parents ended up selling her presents and giving me the money. To say my sister is entitled would be an understatement. She's been like this for as long as I can remember. Even as a young child, she'd throw tantrums over the smallest things, like being denied sweets before dinner when she was 5 or 6. If we were out shopping and my parents said no to an expensive toy she wanted, she'd scream or even hit them. At first, my parents would cave to her demands just to keep the peace, which only reinforced her behavior. By the time she was 7 or 8, she was practically running the household. She'd dictate where we went on holiday, what we ate for dinner, and even minor family outings. It was bizarre watching my parents bend over backward to cater to her every whim. But that was my reality for a few years. Things changed when she turned 11. My parents finally decided enough was enough and told her they were done giving in to her every demand. True to their word, they stuck to this decision. My sister did not take this well. Her first act of rebellion was destroying my dad's favorite jacket. That only strengthened my parents' resolve to address her entitlement head-on. However, this sparked resentment towards me. She started claiming I had more freedom, not realizing it was because I was older and more responsible. To her, I was the golden child, while she labeled herself the neglected one. This victim mentality escalated to an extreme when, at 12, she reported our parents to her school, claiming neglect and that she was always hungry. The school launched an investigation, but of course, it was quickly dismissed when no evidence of neglect was found. Still, this woe is me attitude has persisted, and now at 14, she uses it to justify her outrageous behavior. The latest drama unfolded this Christmas. My parents had asked us what we wanted, and I requested a new phone since mine was falling apart. My sister, on the other hand, said she wanted to be surprised. Fast forward to late November. During a family dinner, she randomly joked that my gift would be better and more expensive than hers because I was the golden child. I asked her why she always plays the victim, and her response was, "Because I am." None of us wanted to escalate it, so the conversation ended there. On Christmas morning, I unwrapped an iPhone 13, along with some smaller items like socks and deodorant. I was thrilled. When it was my sister's turn, she opened her gifts. A small Gucci bag, a Versace perfume, new shoes she'd been wanting for ages, and a high-end makeup palette. Despite the thoughtful presents, she rolled her eyes at each one and muttered a half-hearted thanks. She seemed upset and stormed upstairs, only to return an hour later with a calculator, claiming she'd added up the costs and that my gift was $200 more expensive. She demanded the difference in cash. When my parents refused, she went into a rage. Unfortunately, I had left my phone on the table, and in her fit of fury, she grabbed it and hurled it against the wall, shattering it completely. My mom yanked her away, and my dad, who rarely yells, let loose. It was so intense that my sister retreated to her room in tears. 2 days later, my parents handed me a stack of cash, explaining they had sold my sister's presents to cover the cost of repairing or replacing my phone. They even told me to keep whatever was left over. My sister, however, was furious. She had been staying at a friend's house but returned home claiming her friends thought what our parents did was abusive. My dad sarcastically said he wasn't interested in the opinions of her bimbo friends. When my sister insisted her friends were right, my dad dropped the bombshell. If she truly thought she was being abused, she could go live with someone else. He called his parents, our grandparents who live on a farm, and told them to pick her up for the remainder of the school year. My sister panicked. She broke down, crying and apologizing, saying she didn't want to live on the farm. My grandparents are hardworking people who raised my dad with a strong work ethic, and my sister, who has never lifted a finger, was terrified of the idea. Although I felt a bit sorry for her because she is my sister, I couldn't deny that this was a much-needed wake-up call. Hopefully, this experience will help her realize that life doesn't revolve around her demands. If she doesn't learn now, the world will teach her, and it won't be nearly as forgiving.